Hey everybody, this is Petey from the Spinner Rack, and we also have
Salmonella ready to rock.
today we have a War of the Worlds Extinction movie, and one of the reasons why I thought to do this one is that it's a Tubi movie. Tubi's been taking hits on Instagram and TikTok all the time, pointing out all the bad parts of the movies and the bad plots and this, that, and the other, and that sort of thing. But at the same time, they have a viewership, and ultimately, similar to anything startup, Fox, Netflix, you start with your shows, your low level shows, and then slowly you start building up. And we'll see how this one looks. It's a sci-fi thing. They also had another movie that was more in the something in.
Tubi is actually
Hmm?
no, Tubi is actually further along than you would think.
Yes, yeah.
Because I've looked at some of the I forget how I tripped on it. I got a Samsung TV, and once I got a Samsung TV, there's like a whole bunch of apps you can put on for streaming, much more than when you first were able to do them. And so, Tubi comes up because I guess I was looking for some movie or something, and it was there, and it was free there, and you had to pay other places. So I went, and I was watching it there, and then they just have like tons of content that you would never find anywhere else. And at first blush, a lot of this stuff is like some B movie secondhand stuff. But literally within the last 6 months, I mean, they've been making their own movies that I became aware of. They've been making their own movies. A lot of it like Lifetime type stuff,
Yeah, yeah.
that sort of thing. But then they've been going, they do the shark movie, the stuff that you can produce with a relatively low cost because all the infrastructure is already there. But in the same thing, like where Netflix was, I'm also saying, well, wait a minute, these are some of these movies that I wouldn't expect to see on TV. I would expect to see them on the Disney Channel or Max, that type of stuff. And they changed the model where these guys, even though that's their stuff, they're still willing to sell it out to somebody because there's still money in that.
Mhm.
So you're like, okay, we'll loan it out to you for like 3 months, maybe 6 months, and then it goes into that category of films where they're like leaving soon. So it gets cycled a bit. So I was just very surprised to see that they were already there. They're not like, well, I don't want to make it into a discussion about all the other, free apps, if you will, where they have free content. But I was just very surprised. They seem to be pretty serious. They changed the color of their logo. So, they're in it to win it. I was like really surprised to see the movement on that particular channel.
Well, this is ultimately where I would like to go with it because, I've seen many not startup companies or streaming, but startup movements like black exploitation. Mainly, I'm talking about the black stuff, like black exploitation, the UPN stuff, and obviously those things are built under different regimes or different studios that aren't owned. But then you had all these other things that had a viable thing, and then you had Tubi, and the black content gets a lot of and actually at the same time I have a faith-based short film that's called Why Wait that's on Tubi. But you also have, I think, the guy who's with Jay-Z, he has Marcy Nate, he has his doc on there. And they have a variety of stuff. They have old TV and movies and stuff like that. And then they have people who have made their own films and low budgets, a lot, very low budget. But as you go along, you see, just like Fox, you start with your low level television. You don't know that your Simpsons is going to be a classic forever. They didn't know that the Married with Children will be like a classic sitcom that lasted for 11 seasons. They had shows that I did watch. I watched, was it Adventures of Beans Baxter and that sort of thing. So we get to this thing, the same with like Tyler Perry, where we look at that stuff and say how bad it is. And he has now a full on studio where it's like saying, hey, I still have my audience and I've made so much bank I can create a studio that the whole movie industry uses. And Tubi and similar, this is the dream. You want to become movies, you want to make movies, you go into Tubi, you put together some things, you give money to people who have their low budget stories and films, because ultimately, and I don't say that as a negative term, because when I was trying to do my own films, I was looked at what would be not the lowest low budget, but what I could find at Blockbuster to see what I would hopefully try to get to, because I know I didn't have any money. But it's interesting to see. I've seen, I think, another filmmaker that I met, I saw his film and I got to see some things. You see, you know, the good and the bad in there, but they've been taking shots like, hey, like the same way you go to Tyler Perry, say, oh, this is a Tyler Perry thing, or this is a Tubi thing. Yo, they doing their thing. So let's look at the production values on this. A Tubi original.
We were a peaceful planet until Earth attacked.
The enemy has taken so much from all of us. We will respond in kind and destroy all life on planet Earth at once. We will utilize the Terra Modus. It will unleash disasters that will wipe out humanity.
General, there's a series of earthquakes happening all over Northern Europe. Casualties are in the hundreds of thousands.
Let's go! We can't let Scholar trigger the next disaster. Copy that.
So your daughters plan to stop me. We're at DEFCON 1. Scene of the world.
Cannons ready.
War has only just begun.
What do you say, sir?
Well, I think your Fox analogy is apt for what we got right here. But we see where Fox is. We see where Fox is today. You have to make these particular jumps and these estimates as the content that people are going to watch. I think the biggest criticism that I would have is that this just comes across to me as a play by, paint by numbers type of venture, if you will. And if they really want their own content, to be stuff that drives people there, it's going to have to be a little bit more original in idea.
I would differ in a sense, because I think we always want the next thing to be better, and that is the best way to think of it. But I also found this site called Real Short. Have you seen that site?
No.
They've taken soap operas and they've broken it down into like phone, like that form, like the what's the name, the portrait version of these soap operas, but they act like they're short episodes, sort of like Trapped in the Closet, but it's like Dynasty or the General Hospital type stuff, but like the Can't Buy Me Love type of plots, like they're like the Billionaire and the Virgin, and that's like a Cinderella story. Or what's the other one? I Can't Believe I Slept with the Call Boy, which is the guy is actually rich, but she for some reason thinks he's a gigolo, and she keeps trying to give him money, keeps trying to give it back, and she's like, I should rent you out as my husband and bring you to my rich family so I can get this inheritance, and she doesn't. So there's so many. In my opinion, we always want something different, but we see like Tyler Perry. When you just go in and just do basic genre, repetitive type of stuff at your beginning, you can somehow find your way at the end. And I always feel like the same with Black exploitation, where you had very simple plots, but they were very cheap, and then Hollywood just moved away from them. But you see, I was with Fred Williamson making a name for himself slowly on as he went along, but obviously running out of money. So I just feel like early on, you just got to give them 3 million of your most generic plots, and then even though this one, ultimately, I do like the fact that somehow Earth started it, and we're starting from the other side, and they sent something to Earth. And Billy Baldwin, people always acted like he was the pretty Baldwin. If you hear him talk about stuff, he's got a brain. I know he was the pretty one in comparison to now. I guess Alec is the mean Baldwin, Dead-Eye Baldwin, but you know, it's interesting to see this sort of thing. But I only disagree since because I see another platform starting off with the most basic plots that you have. I got pulled into watching them. They're trying to pull me to subscribe. I can't do it because it's a little high. But they have a ton of plots on there, and I was just like, a ton of plots you've seen before, just reorganized, and I just say, you can keep it, you know, what all the channels used to do. They used to do very low level, you know, or Baywatch. Baywatch was not even high end stuff, you know, but it lasted X amount of years. I only disagree in the sense that if you're starting out, I would love to be the creator that breaks ground and makes something new, but ultimately when you're a platform or you're Tyler Perry, you got to start from somewhere, and you got to start with the most basic things. Take the hit, get disrespected the way Tubi's getting disrespected, and next thing you know, you got your movie. you got your movies.
Yeah. I'm not one to. I think the disrespect comes from the large amount of content on TV and the fact that it's free.
Yeah.
So, you know, of course, which doesn't really jive. I mean, it's free. How can you complain about what's free at the end of the day? And then I would have the other aspect with guys, oh, I love Tubi. I said, you only love it because it's free. You don't want to pay for anything along those lines. But with this, and with definitely the content that I've seen, again, some of these films were things that were in the theaters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, and they're getting the same movies that you would see on Netflix, you know, that you would see on one of the, you know, again, like a Disney Plus or Max or Paramount, Peacock, where they would own these particular things, but they're still licensing this stuff or renting it out to other sites like Netflix, you know, and Tubi. So, like, I was very surprised at the end of the day. So they're not looking to be. They're not looking to be looked at as the alternative choice, you know, but a choice, you know, amongst the, you know, the ranks of the major streamers. So, and you can see that they're building. You can see that they're building towards that. So, you know, cool for them. The only question that I have is, are they going to remain free?
Yeah, that's the other thing. And the idea was that they say, you know, what was it? Having something that, well, no, is it if Tubi is an actual drug, if they put out enough thing to make you feel like you needed it, and then now when they take it away and say it costs you something, will they need the crack cocaine after they got it free? That's the question. Is it that good? Will it make it? What do you say?
No, it's not crack cocaine. It's not crack. It's not crack cocaine, but it is junk food, and that'll kill you too, right?
So you're saying you crave it, and there's a chance you go out and you pay for it. Say, you know what?
There's a chance that you get a taste for it, and you're willing to pay for it, even if it's not. That's what junk food is at the end of the day. You don't really need it, but you know, on one hand, it can be comfort food, and you know, on the other hand, you develop a taste for it.
All right. So thanks. I really wanted this to go in this realm to talk about that stuff. I've been thinking about it. Well, actually, when I saw the Real Shorts thing, I was thinking about it, and but I thought about R. Kelly's Trapped in the Closet, which was short form soap operas, and I was just like, this Real Short, they just took that thing.
You thought that was a short form soap opera? I have another word for it, but hey.
What? Say it.
I can't. We're not allowed to use that language.
Well,
sorry.
I'm just saying because the soap opera form, because he was already doing that in music videos. And then he did 20 episodes. And I was like, you know, thinking about, it was before Tyler Perry made it to TV, and definitely right before he made it to film. And that was kind of there. And then at some point, IFC put R. Kelly on TV, and they were like, where did you come? Like, they saw it as a different art form. And they were like, you know, they were really giving them props. And they were like, we're playing it, and then we're going to put money in. You do the next, he got up to 40. So, but they're like the short form, and it's soap opera plots, but a little even more ridiculous than the soap operas. He was pushing.
Yeah, yeah. That's closer to like something like a farce, if you will. Once they had the, I thought the very first one, because I was so surprised at what was going on and how it matched the lyrics. You know, we about to pull out my Beretta. You know, I was like, okay. And I was like, and then, you know, I was like, all right. And then it was like, oh, there's another part to this. Like, okay. But then it started getting to the point where like, okay, this is just, you know, I can't take this seriously at all. So I stopped watching. I didn't know I knew there was a bunch of episodes. I stopped watching very early in.
Yeah.
You know, I stopped watching very early in.
I just
but
sorry.
You know, once they had something, once they had like a midget was in the closet. I was like,
Yeah, everyone goes once they get to the midget in the closet, it's like, all right, I'm out.
and I never watched that. I just heard about it. I was like, oh, I'm glad I stopped.
But that's the what was it? You know, that I just, you know, as far as going for the short form, you could see people trying to do the skits, and then you had Tyler Perry doing soap operas in his movies, and when he went to OWN, like he almost pretty much brought back the soap operas with his thing and gave us Tika Sumner, which I know you can trash Tyler Perry stuff as much as you want, but the fact that he pulled out Tika Sumner from nowhere, and she's, you know, a mainstay in films these days. But anyway, it's interesting to see that they've gotten this far, and they have another film which, you know, we're not going to review, but it seems more in the quality of your basic drama that you see in the theaters and whatnot. So it's interesting for me. I've always been watching of content of seeing making your new way, and I didn't really look at Netflix that way. I looked at Netflix as just I think we just had them, and at the same time you had those, what's it, the red car, whatever, the red thing, the red box. So we had Netflix, we had Redbox, and they also had Blockbuster. So I was using all three at one point in my, I guess, 30s, watching different things. And I didn't know that Blockbuster would be gone, you know, because I was a mainstay at Blockbuster. We used to have a lot of fun going there. When I went down south in 2001, my mother keeps saying, there's nothing to do, so go to Blockbuster. So I go out there. So I didn't really think of, oh, this is the future, and they would be doing this stuff. But when they started looking at it and saying, we need to pull our content from Netflix, it was interesting to see that they made moves to do different things, to do their own content. And then once people got the hang of it, let's steal that content. Like, we'll go overseas. Like, damn it, they keep going other avenues. We keep trying to cripple them, take our stuff away. Okay, here, take some superhero stuff back again. So it's just very interesting to watch these things and not see. With Netflix, I wasn't looking at it on the ground floor, even though I was just like, oh, this is cool. Let me start ordering DVDs. Oh, damn, this DVD's still in the house. People don't think about it back in the day when you got your queue and you got the DVD in the house, and or you got a DVD that was bad that's a coaster and you have to send it back. This thing sucks. I didn't send that back yet. People always point out the success of it, not the initial thing of how cool it was, but you get coasters from time to time. So, but this is interesting where I didn't really, when I saw people tearing it down, I was glad to see that it was making its way. So, if we have anything close to what we, close to sci-fi at least, we'll do some more if they have any other ones. But any other last words?
No, I think we said it all.
Spin a rack.
We're out.